This is the process for either transferring statements to education, health and care plans or starting them from scratch. It's a 3-step process. Step 1 is looking at the information you have and what else do you need. Step 2 is the preparing for adulthood review. And step 3 is agreeing the education, health and care plan. Before you get started, you need to first establish whether the child or young person is eligible for an EHC plan and for a personal budget as well. And then think about who's going to coordinate the plan and how they'll support the young person and their family to be fully involved throughout the process. Step 1. Step 1 starts by looking at what information is already available. So that might be a desktop analysis looking at all the reports and information that's already there. And it may mean meeting with the family and young person to look at what other information is available as well. If you need more information, you need to think about what you need, where and how you can get this, who'll be involved, and how you can do this in a coordinated and family-friendly way. At this stage, you may be mapping out all the information that you've got against the A to K sections of an EHC plan. Where you have gaps, you need to think about how you can get the information that you need. If it's through professional assessments, you need to ask the relevant professional what the young person needs are, what's working and not working from the professional's perspective, and what does the professional recommend in relation to outcomes and provision. All of this information is summarised usually on the A to K sections, and the family and the young person must see this before moving towards the preparing for adulthood review. The preparing for adulthood review. The purpose of this review is to agree person-centred outcomes and to explore possible options for provision to meet these outcomes. To achieve that, the first step is to share all the information that's been gathered and then use this to inform outcomes. All the information about the local offer and what's practical and possible must be shared with the family before getting to the review. To develop person-centred outcomes, we start with aspirations. We look at where the young person wants to be in a year's time and in 5 years' time, and then think about what's working and not working from different perspectives around the 4 preparing for adulthood outcomes. These are moving to higher education or employment, independent living, being part of the community and having friends, and being healthy. And there may be things that are working and not working in other areas of the young person's life. You develop the outcomes by starting with aspirations, looking at what's working and not working, and reflecting on what's important to the young person, and then developing a draft outcome. You can check the outcomes using the following process. Will achieving this outcome prepare the young person for adulthood and make it more likely that they can live independently, have friends, be part of community life, and have paid work? Would achieving this outcome address the young person's needs? Does this outcome reflect what's important to the young person? Does this outcome help change what's not working? And will achieving this outcome take the young person closer to their aspirations? So once you're sure you've got the right outcomes that meet these criteria, the next step in the process is to look at provision ideas, targets and actions that are likely to achieve these outcomes for the young person. Once you've got your ideas together, you need to be clear about whether there's a record of what's going to be provided, by whom, and how it be delivered. And if you're including targets, whether these specific targets are measurable and accountable and make it more likely that the young person will achieve their outcomes. At the end of the Preparing for Adulthood review, you should have a list of outcomes that reflect the Preparing for Adulthood themes. You need to have ideas for provision or identify provision targets and actions, and these need to be specific, measurable and accountable. At the end of the meeting, you'll make it really clear what has to happen now to get to the stage of agreeing the EHC plan. Step 3, agreeing the EHC plan. At this stage, you'll be finalising provision to meet the outcomes with the young person and their family. You'll be doing the required consultation to achieve that, and you'll agree the final EHC plan. You can use the same process for starting an EHC plan where the young person doesn't already have a statement, and the same process of the Preparing for Adulthood review, looking at what's working and not working and aspirations as well, can be used to review the Education, Health and Care Plan on an annual basis.